My name is Eric, and for the past 10 months, I've been living in this Teardrop trailer as I traveled the country for a year. I started in Tampa, Florida of 2021, and now I'm in North Dakota. It is now September of 2022. I've been to Tennessee, Arkansas, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, the Canadian Rockies, Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, and now I'm in North Dakota. As I'm traveling around, a lot of people say, why did you go for such a small setup? Why did you go for basically a 6-foot box and not, say, a big fifth wheel or get a truck camper or just a bigger SUV to travel in? The simple answer is the Teardrop kind of chose me. The car I'm pulling this in is a Subaru Forester 2020 model. I bought the car 2.5 years ago before I went full-time traveling. It was always been a dream of mine to be able to travel like this, but I didn't really know I was going to be able to do it. When I bought the car, I was looking for a few things. I wanted something with great gas mileage, I wanted something with great longevity, and I wanted more of the modern tech in it. The Subaru Forester offered all that for me in the price point that I was looking. So when I bought the car, one of the things I was not really looking at was the tow package. When I first decided to get on the road, my original journey was just going to have me traveling in just the car alone. I was going to travel the entire country for a year in my car. Now I'm really glad I decided not to do that because it's been pretty cold at times and it would have been really cold in the car. I've dealt with some cold nights in the Teardrop, but it's been really cold in the car. So I'm glad I decided to do the Teardrop for something a little bit more comforting to sleep in. I definitely didn't want to sleep in a tent every night. I have a tent. I used to do a lot of like weekend camping trips when I was back in Florida, but I knew the tent was just not going to fly when I was out here on the road. First off, I have to sleep sometimes in cities and things where I just can't put a tent out. And second off, I knew that it'd be just way too cold. And I didn't want to put up a tent in, say, windy conditions like it is today, or if it's going to be raining or anything. It's just kind of a mess. I didn't want to live in a tent all the time. So I decided to get something to pull behind the car to sleep in. And I looked at a couple different options. Mostly I was limited to weight. The Subaru Forester can pull a max of 1,500 pounds. Now, when I bought this has a dry weight of 1,000 pounds. Dry weight just simply means off the factory floor without you putting any of your personal belongings in there, without you putting water in there, without you putting any cooler or anything that's going to add weight, before you put a spare tire on the tongue or anything like that. The dry weight, meaning what comes out of the factory, is 1,000 pounds in this. I've added another 450 pounds to this. My car pulls only 1,500 pounds, so I'm pretty much maxed out at what my car can handle as far as towing this thing. So I couldn't go any bigger than this. And the car's brand new. I bought it with 17 miles on it, and I don't have a car payment. So it didn't make a lot of sense for me to go ahead and trade in a car that was only going to be roughly a year and a half old at that point when I decided to actually do this, and get something that was going to be probably not nearly as good gas mileage, was not going to have the technology that this car has in it, like CarPlay and the blind spot monitoring, and the camera system that's on this car is far better than a lot of the camera systems on other cars at the price point that I was willing to pay out. So it didn't make a lot of sense for me to get a newer car, a bigger car. A bigger car would have come with a bigger price tag, it would have come with less gas mileage, I probably was not going to get as much technology in it as this car has, so I definitely knew I wanted to keep this car. So that meant I was kind of limited to what I could pull behind it. A few of the other options I looked at were like these little motorcycle trailers that you can get, and it's a lot like the Teardrop. It weighs maybe like 400 to 600 pounds. They're pretty small. It's just a sleeper inside, so you open the door and it's just a bed. It wouldn't have a space for like a kitchen like mine has. It didn't have space for storage that I definitely needed because I'm traveling for a year and I'm in all climates. So I knew I wanted something a little bit bigger than that. This particular Teardrop came along at the right time for me. This is a 2012 Little Guy 6-wide trailer. Little Guy is actually the name of the company. It's not just because it's a small trailer. And it's called 6-wide because it's actually 6 foot wide. So it gave me more space on the inside for storage and for clothes. And it had a great big galley in the back. Now a galley is just your cooking space, a place where you can cook outside. Now that was really important to me because I can't go buy food at restaurants every single night. That adds up really quickly. And that was really important to me because I'm not working right now. Therefore, I cannot afford to go buy food at a restaurant every single night. So I have to cook on the road. Plus, I just enjoy cooking really. I'm just not one to go to a restaurant every single night. So I don't mind cooking. I cook breakfast and dinner pretty much every single night. So I definitely wanted something with like a hard shell around it, not like a pop-up tent. I wanted something I can get out of the elements from, but it had to be low weight. Weight was a big concern with pulling on this car. Plus, I've never pulled anything before. This is the first time I've ever pulled anything behind a car or anything. So I knew I wanted something relatively small, but give me lots of space to put all my stuff in, lots of space to cook in. Since this is a 2012 model, I bought this used from a couple who were upgrading their Teardrop to a much bigger unit so that they could travel more comfortably in. And I bought this one for $4,500. Now, brand new, a Teardrop can range from about $10,000 all the way up to like $40,000. And a lot of things can contribute to that price. Mostly it's build quality. Maybe the Teardrop is made of fiberglass. This one's made of wood, which is something that most companies are not doing as much, and more of the companies are making them out of fiberglass now. Do they have things like solar already installed? Does it have what's called an articulating coupler? That means the area where the car connects to the trailer, that's the coupler. And some of them rotate like this. That's called an articulating coupler. And that's more for if you're gonna go like off-road, like if you're gonna do like more like rock bouldering and stuff like that with your Teardrop. Some people do that. Then that adds to the price. If the galley area has a built-in stove and a built-in fridge, and if it's all wired for electrical, if it comes with awnings already installed, if it has windows in the back, if it has TVs mounted in there, if it has custom cabinetry. So there's a lot of things that can add to the price with these things. This one, I think brand new would have gone for about $10,000. I picked it up for $4,500 used, and I love that it came kind of bare bones. The galley area had nothing in there. It has no custom cabinetry. It had no sink. That's something else that a lot of the Teardrops will have, is like a little sink back there. This one had no sink. It had nothing inside other than some cabinets to put some storage in. And since it's used, it actually came with 2 lock boxes up front that I use for camping gear and just other things that I need for on the road, my chucks and a wheel boot lock and some gloves, and I have an old stove in there and things like that, some propane and some other camping supplies. And then, like I said, because it's 6 foot wide and it's just me, it's plenty of space for me to have a little extra storage in there. I have all my clothes in there for all sorts of climates that I'm in. And I can even sit in there when it's really bad weather outside or it's late at night and just watch movies on my phone or something. So that's the simplest answer to why I chose a Teardrop. To travel for a year, this is what I could pull behind my car. And again, I didn't want to buy a different car just to travel for a year. I keep thinking that if I go longer than a year, which I definitely want to do, once I find a remote job and can start traveling full time, but also be able to make money, I probably will end up upgrading my entire rig. That means car and trailer. I do keep thinking about the whole van life thing. That's super appealing to me. I like that it's all self-contained. I do wish I could cook inside at times. Today's a little windy, so that means cooking on I have a little 2-burner stove, and that means that the flame on the burner starts to dance around a little bit and can be a little harder to cook on. If it's raining, obviously I can't cook at all. So there's some things there that make that a little bit more challenging, but overall it fits me very well. Most Teardrops are pretty small, so you can take them down most roads. Pretty much any place the car can go, I can take this thing. So it's not very limiting to where I can go. There's lots of spots that I end up camping on that there's no way you could get, say, like a C-Class, or if you got a big rig, or even some fifth wheels, you just couldn't get them down some of the roads that I end up sleeping on for the night. So overall, I do like this thing. It fits me pretty well. I hope that answers the question of why I chose a Teardrop. Again, it really just shows me. Thanks for escaping normal life with me.